Hello there, I'm Irvin M. Ferguson, and I thought I would relate some stories that are about myself and also about my father, my dad, and my mother. But I did have to write down some notes because I'm like 67 or getting close to 67, actually 66 in so many months. But let's see, the first thing here was I want to relate a story. This is a true story. You see, I lived in the San Joaquin Valley in a little town called Newman, and I went to Modesto Junior College for electronics, for a submajor in electronics and also TV and radio broadcasting. They had an excellent program there for that, and had a promise to work at KTRB in Modesto too. But I did work at KRJC a lot. So here I am driving to my morning class to Modesto, going up. I've gotten up as far as River Road and Crow's Landing Road, and I see this commotion off in the field, and I can tell it's farm workers. I looked, and we saw these police had German Shepherds, and they were, I don't know what they call those handles that holds the dogs, but they were just loosely holding those dogs at bay. And I could see that there was a man there that was Cezar Chavez, and he was there, and they were protesting, and I think that man is a great man. And he did what he should do, and he had a heart of a soul, you know, he was a good man. So anyway, there's a number of us apparently that was on that road that was kind of awestruck by that and horrible. You know, just our mouths were open. We were standing, everybody was out in front of their car watching the police ag on these dogs towards the women and children. That's what got me, and the men. And Cesar Chavez was there too. And I count that as a great honor to have seen him in the field doing his, the progressive work that he was trying to do for the people. So in a way, the police looked and saw there was an audience out on River Road, because this was River Road just before you get to Crow's Landing to turn right to go to Modesto. And anyway, so he looked at us and says, "Get, if you know what's good for you." And so I got out of there. But it's always been in my memory, and I've never forgotten it. So to me, Cesar Chavez is a great man, and I'm glad he lived and he did good work for his people. Now, the reason I'm standing in front of this mural, if I can kind of move around and kind of show it there, that was given to me by my dad's sister in Patterson, California, which is just up from Newman. And she folded it up and laid it in my lap and said, "This is yours, keep it." And I've had it ever since then, and let me tell you, it's old. And it's a picture of elk looking at the sun or the moon. I'm not sure which yet. And then the other thing was, when I went to Modesto Junior College, I was fortunate enough to meet a lot of good people. I've worked in the scenic tech department and the theater department as part of my way to make a little money for the college, for myself to go to college. And so I met Anthony Zerbe, and he was a great man, a nice guy. He was getting ready to do a play there for everybody, and we were the people that he had to talk to help fix the background and open up the floor so it can go down in stairs to where you needed to go and come back up again and stuff like that. It was really cool. And then, a few months later, Charles Kuralt was there giving a talk to older people. And I was in the back there by KRJC and in the hallway, and I walked over to the teletype, and I'm pretending like I'm reading the teletype, which I was reading it, but there wasn't enough news on it to worry about. And then I walked over and we started conversation, and he wanted to know, is there anybody that he could do a show on about, whether they be eccentric or whether they be historical or whatever it is. And fortunately, I told him, no, I didn't know of anybody, but you know what, I did. I could have honored my father really well, because my dad was one of the 12 foremen that built the Coronado Bridge. He was one of the foremen there. He was a bridge builder. So anyway, I can never see that bridge and not think of Dad. He was one of the 12 foremen. He went there every day, worked on that bridge until it was done, and then we all got in the car and we drove across it back then. We even rode the last ferry ride before they started building that bridge to do that. Now, at that time, we also lived a little bit further down the line. The guy that built that bridge, or had that bridge built, was Jewish. And we actually rented from him, and we lived on Urania Street in Encinitas by the freeway. We were close to the intersection right there on Urania Street. And I forget what the intersection is, but you could look and see the freeway. So we were right there. And there was a field there, but I see now they have a greenhouse built there now next to the house that we lived in. And the house we lived in is so covered in trees and everything, you can't see the house anymore, but it looks beautiful. So anyway, that's that. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was my dad was in World War II. He was on Saipan. He was in I forget the number of it. What the CBM number is. I want to say 537, 527, something like that. But anyway, he was doing bulldozers, and he was also, I don't know if they had more than one, but he was on the one bulldozer that had a name that he painted on the side of it, and he put Tokyo on it. Now, nobody told him he couldn't, he didn't spell Tokyo right. So he put Tokio, which is wrong. But by him doing that, they have a picture of him sitting on that bulldozer after he saved the Navajo code talkers. He was one of them. So apparently there was more than just one. So, and the next thing to talk about was my dad was a musician. He played music with Spec Rhodes. Spec Rhodes was later known and became a member of the Porter Wagner Band. He was the comedian that played the upright bass and stuff like that. And this was before World War II, and then World War II came along, and Dad had to go to the war, and so they basically never met again after that, but they were partners for quite a few years, doing kind of like vaudeville acts and stuff like that. And I believe this is it, and mainly my tribute was to my dad, my mom, but also to Cezar Chavez, because I worked in the school for 21 years as a bus driver, and every time I heard a kid come on and said his name was Cezar, I pretty much had a good idea who he was named after. Thank you.